10 seconds.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The View from the Dead Box. It's your boys and your girl, Wes, Michael, and me, Courtney. Had to throw y'all off with the intro today.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Did I do it well?
Yeah, I think so.
That was pretty good.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
It's okay at best.
yeah, I mean, it could have been worse.
I thought it was
You
pretty
couldn't
good.
be like Michael trying to start the show off.
I hate doing it. I don't mind closing it, but starting the fucking thing off, I don't know what it is. It's weird to me. Even though I'm just talking to you, it's just strange. So what's going on, guys?
Yeah, did we have a tournament this weekend?
Y'all might not have.
Well, we played good, actually, except for
did.
1 point.
Yes.
Or one match. We
Yeah.
had one bad match. Everything else, in my opinion, was pretty good. And we had 3 teams competing, correct?
Yes.
Yep. So how do you wanna dissect each team? Now, none of us played for the other team.
Yeah.
They didn't have a good outing, and I'm sure they all know that.
Well,
They
that
had
was
some
that was
pickup
a
players.
Yeah, that was a throw together team the last minute, and 2 guys got picked up on the whim in the very last minute. So
Well, and you had guys drop out, and that's why you had to pick up some players.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So it's not really on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did what they had to do to be able to play.
yeah.
I mean, I understand. I have their, because we'll cover everybody's records. So the first match is the only match I watched them play any games from. So I can't really talk about that much because then obviously we were playing. And the first point I saw them playing, I was like, oh wow, they're getting ready to win.
Yeah.
And what do we have going on?
So they lost 2 bodies pretty early.
Yep.
But they had 3 alive, and they might have got a kill or 2, and they were staying alive for a hot minute.
And they just loaded the snake.
Yep.
Just loaded the snake. And what was the snake player? Now, granted, we don't know that. I don't know the snake player's name. He was one of the pickups.
I know him. His name's Gary Crump, I believe, and Machine Gun Kelly.
But definitely Machine Gun Kelly.
He loads the snake, and our match hasn't started yet, so we're just kind of on the outside, just watching them play. And this dude gets in and proceeds to throw it back like 2005 NXL days, and is on straight ripper mode. And we hear this gun, and I instantly think that's 15 balls a second.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking around, and the ref's standing right there and doesn't say anything, is not noticing what is going on. And I'm like, we have to go through the towel for these guys. They don't know what's going on. So they're like, what? I'm like, we have to go through the towel. So we run up there, we buzz the towel, throw the point for them, and they come off. They're like, what was going on? I'm like, hey, I buzzed the towel. Your dude's shooting 48.5 balls a second. And the guy comes off, and he's like, no, that's good. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, that gun is shooting 1 billion balls a second. He's like, no, it's no way. I'm telling you, it's 10. I'm like, we check it out. So I get Shane to look at the board. It's an Empire 6, I believe the gun is.
Yeah.
And he looks at it, and I'm like, I know it's wrong. You can hear it. Check the board, boom, guns in 15 balls a second. I'm like, how does this happen? How does this even happen? Granted, he was a pickup at the very last minute, and he played well, but didn't check your gear before you go into this event, right? Yep. So he's shooting 1 million balls a second. First point in, they have to concede. And then we didn't get to watch any more than that for that. But I think they didn't do too well in the rest of that.
They didn't do too good. That was against Underground, which was one of the better teams.
Yeah.
Too. So, but they were less. I mean, they other than losing 2 people early, they were bringing it back that first game. And that towel probably cost them some momentum. You know what I mean? Like you coming in with a pickup team, you win your first point. That's, you know what I mean? That's huge. But they ended up getting 4-0'd by them. I didn't watch the Killjoy, but I think they drew to the Killjoy 2-2. And then they played Carolina Crisis, which again is another good team. They lost to them 3-2. So I mean going 3-2, that's right there with them. And then they got 3-0'd by Myrtle Beach Mayhem. And I remember Myrtle Beach Mayhem last year was a pretty decent team. So I'm assuming, I mean, they played some decent teams and like drew with one of them 3-2, all with a pickup team. So if they would have had the rest of their guys, they could, you know what I mean? Those scores would probably be different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
100%.
it's one of those things that is, you know what I mean? It happens to everybody, like either playing bad or losing players.
Well, also, I mean, that team didn't get a lot of practice. Chuck doesn't get a chance to practice a bunch, and he played a majority of the points.
Yeah.
I think Matt missed like a million practices, but leading up to that event, like I think we had 4 or 5 practices going to that event. I think he made 2, 3. Carson, I think, didn't make any.
Yeah.
I don't think Carson made actually any at all.
Yeah.
Because
practice is a big thing.
Well, yeah, especially when you're going to play your first event as a team. You don't have any practice together, you know. So Seth and Harper drove down the weekend of to get a good practice in, and they showed, drove down from Charleston to get some points in, but most of their guys weren't there. So and it was in the rain, so it was kind of a half-assed practice as it was. So they played this event with a 30-other team with 2 guys backed out. So they had picked up 2 random dudes, and they had no practice at all.
Yep. If you get them a little bit of practice and they're the players that dropped out, I'm very confident they do much better than showing there. Because I mean, they play. When we all practice, we play each other very hard. You know what I mean? No matter what team is playing, it's never an easy point playing any of the teams that are out there, even when we have teams come out of town or our own teams or however we do it. We've been having a lot of out of town teams. We had KMA before this. What's the Cypress? Is it Cypress Kings been coming down?
Cypress Kings. Yep.
I mean, and then A43 comes down quite often, and then just a bunch of other Charleston guys. So we get lots of good practice. So if everyone can stick on their practice and be able to make tournaments, all these teams, all the 3 teams we have currently, should do very well in this series. So I guess we should cover us next.
Yeah, the other losers.
I mean, we were the other losers. That is big facts. So, first game of the day, we played Tantrum Black. And in my opinion, because Tantrum is a good organization, I was like, this is probably going to be our toughest match of the day, is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is the case. It was definitely one of the tougher matches we played. Yes. But we ended up going 2-2 with them. We tied. We won the first 2 points, then lost the next 2. Why do we always do that?
Like either we come out super strong, but see, it's either or. We either come out super strong or we come out super flat.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. Or we've had chances where we get up on people in matches and we just won't
close
let off the gas.
Yeah,
we just won't put our foot down their throat. We just let them back in, and this is another reason why I hate bullshit mercy rules.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it wouldn't change in this, but like at MVPS, we played that whatever team it was a couple events ago, like last season, actually. I think we played Palm Beach Reckless. We got up on them like 2-0, and they scored, and then we got 3-1 on them, and then we could have just pulled them away, and then we just couldn't spread the gap. You know what I mean? We just like let them hang around instead of just running it down their throats. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know
if it's either bad play calling or getting the other team has a better play call. You know what I mean? Your play call could be good. They just had the better counter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could go a million different ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything that stuck out to you in that match? I have one thing, but I'll let you go first.
I think the snake side, they were very new. Kyle played really well the whole event, and he's a new player for us. And he actually isn't really a snake side player. He played it just fine, but he never played with anybody over there. So the practices he did get in, he ended up throwing them over there with Frank, and Frank hasn't played. He didn't get any practices in for like 2 months. So he came out the weekend before the event, played, and we threw him with Kyle and let him just go at it. So they only had like 1 practice together, if that, and it was in the rain again, and then we just threw him over there. So I think our snake side was very shaky because I believe the first 2 points, I was just steamrolling down. Like they weren't stopping the Dorito side. Like me and Daniel just literally rained on the Dorito. I was in the danger within probably 30 seconds of the first match. Like they didn't stop it, and I think 200 to break the first point and went right into the 300, and they weren't even shooting that side of the field.
Nope.
And they did roughly the same thing. They doubled the guns over there. I went up under them, and they just stopped shooting it. So I just went down the field right again, and then we started losing from the guys coming in. Then they figured, well, shit. I think Tangent said, well, they're coming down the Dorito side really fast. We'll just go down the Snake side really fast.
Yeah.
And we weren't attacking them hard in the Snake side. And I think that's what our counter was basically, is they countered the Snake side really well. Just guessing. I agree.
I think you're right.
I was being pressured because whenever they would get into the Doritos, I would kind of lure them out into like a gun battle down the wide side, or like let them feel comfortable. And I was picking up most of my kills just down the wire that way. But I was always fearing of the Snake coming down and shooting me in the side, because we either lost a Snake or they were already in the Viper pretty early,
Interesting. Yeah. So what stuck out to me was that was one of the worst. Now this goes for everybody, obviously. One of the worst fields I had played on was that.
Oh God, yeah.
I was almost not gonna bring this up now because that could almost be a thing at the end. But have you played on a field that okay, let me rephrase this. The field itself wasn't terrible. It was muddy, but it was more the pits. Those are probably the worst pits. And I'm saying very loosely.
First of all, yeah. There wasn't pits.
Yeah.
Table and a tent.
One table. And
it was one table for 2 teams.
Yes.
And a small little tent.
Yeah, like maybe a 10 by 10.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then it was miserable mud on that far side, which we would.
But your pit area wasn't on the sides of the field. It was both your pits were on the back side of the field.
Yeah.
So one team was constantly getting fucked. They had to walk a lot further, and there was no air inside the pits. Yeah. So you had to leave your pit, walk all the way to the top of the field, get air, and come back down. So it was very, very inconvenient for one team. It was just a very bad. And we'll go back to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I have a couple things I want to touch on in that field.
Yeah.
What do you think of the field itself? Because you guys played on the next day. What was your thoughts on it?
I mean, it was terrible. We ended up bringing our own table and our own stuff down there, and basically making a pit outside of the pit area because it was so terrible. So
that's probably what we should have did.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we started using we brought a table the last two, or the third match. We didn't bring it the very last match for some reason, but I don't know. It was like we said, we'll go back to that because that'll be a whole long tangent.
There's a few things,
Oh yeah, so that was Tantrum Black. Like we said, it was a 2-2. We won the first 2, lost second 2, and then obviously time expired. Then we played Carolina Assault. I don't know what happened. They're a good team, but I think they're not better team.
They're not better than y'all.
Yeah, sure. We got 0-3, and which probably was going to be an 0-4 if time wouldn't have expired, if I remember that correctly. I don't think we got 0-4.
I think you're right. I think the time ran out before
I believe so, because that's what gave us the positive point margin. That I don't know. We just couldn't get it going. Again, it was on that field, and now we're walking through a 6-foot mud hole to get I mean, it was, if you didn't step on that pallet, which my short ass legs, I walk on the pallet and then my legs aren't long enough to reach to the fucking ground. So I just I'm standing in water, and it's annoying ankle deep water. That's not a reason.
Past your ankle,
It's just pissing me off every time, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But we just couldn't get our shit together that game, I guess. I mean, I don't even want to know if anybody played bad. I personally got put in 2 scenarios. A 1-on-2, I shot the first guy, and then I lost the 1-on-1. I lost him on the field. I thought he went snake side. I went snake side. He went up the center. And then I had another weird thing where I felt myself get shot in the pack as the dude was coming down our Dorito side. And I tucked back in, and the ref was like, go ahead, keep playing. And I was worried about getting a penalty, obviously, because I heard it. And the ref literally told me, and then I'm sure we'll touch on the reffing later, keep playing, while I had an obvious hit.
Keep shooting. He said,
keep shooting. He was like, keep shooting. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, now I've turned the field sideways. Don't know. I know I had a snake guy still. I don't know what else is going on there, but I'm like, well, at least I can stay alive for a second. And I legit gun fought this dude for 10, 15 seconds, just trying to figure it out. Cause I'm like, if there's no one to my right, I had a way better bunker than he did. And then the ref was kind of like, player, you're it. And I'm like, okay, I expected a penalty. Cause any other league, even though he told me, my camera just cut out.
Yeah, your camera cut out.
And even though that would have been a penalty, even if the ref told me to keep playing. I don't know why that cut out, but I am gonna keep rolling with it, and maybe it'll turn back on. But so that happened. I don't know. you didn't play the second point. That's the one, right?
I didn't play the second match at all.
Okay. Yes. Oh, and your camera just cut out.
I turned mine off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
So, I sat. Well, so I seen the very first. Oh, there you go. You got it back.
Yeah, that was weird.
Weird. Well, so the very first match went down, and I noticed that we had to fix something with the snake side. We've been kind of missing a snake side for a while. Like we've had snake side players, and they just haven't got it like done. You know what I mean? Like, and it's been played for like about 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And so I noticed the first match we were lacking the snake side, and I literally said to myself, like, I am not about to lose this event because the snake side's gonna lack. So let me, and I looked at the Carolina Assault guys, and not knocking them, they just didn't seem really good. Like they didn't seem like they're one of the top 5 teams at all.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, we have a pretty good roster. Like I'm confident we can get this done without me. So I'm gonna sit this match and just watch the snake side the entire match and figure out what was going on. And I've seen quite a few mistakes, and it wasn't all just on snake side.
No.
I'm kind of glad I sat out that match, and I'm kind of glad. I wish I didn't, because I feel like with me in there, we probably would have steamrolled those dudes. Like they were not playing. Like we brought them down the bodies every single time. Like, you know what I mean? And I think just going, I was correcting the snake side here and there, correcting, and then we're getting in shape then. But I think we didn't see Shane's performance, right?
Yeah.
Like
Shane didn't play as well as he normally does.
And we seen it at the last MVPS. He wasn't on his P's and Q's. And the 2 practices leading up to this event, he came up to me and you and was like, dude, I'm not playing well. And we're like, yeah, like, you know, it'll come around. Like everybody has bad days. Like it's going to happen. So I was expecting to see like the snap out of Shane where he runs up in Doritos and just gunfights, boom, 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 gets down, you know, and
towards the end of the day, we were seeing it.
Yes.
He started picking it up a lot. And I think our performance shows after that.
Yes. But that match where I sit out, I always expect a great performance out of Jamie. Like that, I'm just going to expect that out of him. But I need somebody to fill Jamie's role behind me, because I'm going to assert Jamie in my role, or Daniel. And so I couldn't. I say it like this: I couldn't hide. If I have a weak player on the team, I try to hide them. Right?
Yeah.
I'll move them into like a spot that's not very like gunfall everywhere where multiple guns can see you. But typically if I have a normal Shane, I'll put him in a spot where he can gunfight multiple guys, because he is a very good gunfighter. So I'm confident with him putting him somewhere like that. But I think he went to the Alpha and couldn't survive there. Then we stuck him up in the Denver. He didn't survive there. We put him in the X, like late game, couldn't survive there.
Yeah.
We sent him to the Fire on the break. He got shot there. I'm like, okay, and I moved him all over the field. Thinking like, I gotta find a spot for him. Like, let me try to hide him somewhere, and we just couldn't get it done. And I think that was probably a big key factor in that match, is we were down him almost every single point. He came off and he was like, well, just sit me. He's like, I'm not playing well. I'm like, well, I need to sit this match to figure out all of our problems. You know what I mean? I'm like, I need you to like figure out what you got going on and get it out of your head and play, you know? So we got down that match, and I knew it was over at that point, right? So
okay. Yeah, that was like, if we had a bad match of the day, I would say it's that one.
100%.
Then we play, is it Carolina Virus or is it just straight Virus?
Carolina Virus.
So we played them.
I think it's like Gridlock, and it's a bunch of people put together.
Okay, well,
I know it's some Gridlock guys in there 100%.
Yeah, well, we definitely gave it to them. Our score shows a 4-0, but we definitely we 5-0'd them.
We 5-0'd them. It didn't count a point.
Let's not touch on that now, because that'll get brought up, I'm sure, when we do. You know what I mean? We'll circle back to the 5-0. Yes, because it goes with other stuff, other little critiques we have. But yeah, I mean, everyone
played normal.
Played normal Georgia Extreme paintball.
Yeah.
Like, lanes were there. Granted, I think our lanes had been there all day, because the games I watched, I would literally this is also something we'll touch on. I never saw refs go in to check people, but I would see like someone dive in and a ref kind of do the look where he turn, he's looking at the guy. He's not getting in close with him.
That was on the bottom field. That was on the bottom.
So Yeah,
that wasn't
that's true too.
on the top field. I was getting people running in and checking them. Mainly, I didn't really have an issue up there. And I think that's because that's Dan's guys. That's the main refs that I've seen throughout the season. Because on the bottom field, we'll jump to it real quick. That early in a match, that one ref with the profiler was literally talking shit to a player through the net about to fight him. I'm like, this is not good for like a
league.
A league. Like he's like clapping and like giving the player thumbs up, like talking shit to him. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, this is fucking wild.
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it going, Jesus, like, what is this?
Different if the player was being an ass, but the player really wasn't. He was asking questions for the most part. I mean, the player was being.
Well, he was questioning a penalty or questioning why a player did not get a penalty. He said, you know what? Now thinking about this could be the same fucking ref that didn't give you the penalty or didn't get a penalty, didn't let you play on with a hit, and then just called you out.
It could have been.
You were in the same side of the field where he was reffing at. That's where he was.
Yeah,
and they were saying that the guy had a hit on him, obvious hit, and the ref checked him while he was playing. He had hits on him, and then he pulled him out, and they didn't call a penalty. So that's what they were getting mad about, which is 100% a reason to get mad about.
Yeah, for sure.
And the ref's like, I didn't see a hit, and then when I did see a hit, I pulled him out. He's like, well, he's shooting and playing with a hit on him. That's playing on. Yeah. That's a minor. Yeah. So that's what they were arguing about. And the guy's like, he's like, you don't need to tell me how to do my job. And so then they were going back and forth for a while.
I mean, there's really nothing else happened in that one because I don't want to cover what did happen, like the big thing that happened. I don't think we should cover that now unless you want to. You think that goes now? We should do that probably later. Huh?
For what? Which piece? What part?
That first point with Shane.
And... Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we'll just get into it. So that was the 5-0 thing. What?
Me go.
Let's do it.
I mean, we're already on that match.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So
very first point.
Yeah, very first point on the virus. We get in it. We down the field. We're moving up pretty early. We get like kill 3 pretty quick. I think I move into the danger. I think, and somebody shoots the back corner, and there's one guy left in the fire. That's it. And as 3-on-1, I'm in the danger. Somebody's in the X, or no, I'm sorry, I'm in the 300. Somebody's in the X, and somebody's in the Viper. It's game over, right? Yeah. We hear base, towel. All right, cool. So we assume it's game over. Well, the ref's like, that was a faulty towel. I'm like, huh? And he's like, yeah, that's a faulty towel. Granted, we're standing on the field, and I'm behind the 300. And I'm looking at this player, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at the player, and this is probably like a 5-second delay. The kid brings up his gun and shoots a volley at me. I literally dip behind the bunker, come right back out, and beam this fucking kid like 6 times. And the ref's like, whoa. I'm like, he shot at me. He's like, I don't care what he did. There's no shooting. We're game to stop. I'm like, the dude's shooting at me. And everybody's like, well, yeah, I'd fucking shoot at him too. Fuck it, he shot at you. Well, then we sat there and like talked, and the refs say that we're gonna restart the point, and I'm like, it's a 3-on-1. We know where the guy is. You guys know where we are. He's like, we just can't start people. We can't start a point back with people in the bunkers. I'm like, they did it 2 times in a row on the far field with false bases. Yeah. He's like, I'm like, they just did it 2 times in a row down there, and he's like, yeah, we can't do it. They don't want to do it that way. I'm like, but we just did it. He's like, I'm sorry. You have to get air and get paint and come back down. So, and Dan is the ultimate there, and I respect him. He's ref really well. I never get any bad calls out of him. And he's only going by. He's talking to the owner up top.
So what's his name?
Andy.
Okay, I think that's who's Shane.
Scuba Steve. I think you're thinking of Andy, the big guy in gray.
Yeah, that's who handed me the paint. That's who must have heard.
That's the owner of the league. Scuba runs the league, keeps it in order, and Andy owns the league. Okay. So they were like, he's taking, Dan is the ultimate. He's taking commands from Andy, so he can't. He just hands it down. Whatever. Go get paint, get air, come back, and steamroll those dudes in the dirt. And we ended up 4-0ing them, and no issues, right?
Yeah. Well, that's me and Shane didn't play that first point of this match. So I'm kind of looking at it from me, and I keep telling it like all y'all, I'm like, stay like by your bunkers. You know what I mean? Don't leave until we're. I mean, it wasn't a quick resolve. I mean, y'all were probably down there 5 or 6 minutes trying to
easy
figure. And I was like looking at y'all like, don't fucking leave the field or don't put barrel condoms on. Don't do any of that because I didn't want them to say, oh, well, y'all walked. You know what I mean? One of those bullshit scenarios. Well, while this is happening, y'all like Shane apparently is just I don't know what he's saying exactly, but Andy can hear. I mean, he's just this fucking shit league this. Now these are Shane's words, not mine. Just doing his whatever he's saying exactly. I don't know.
Well, off on tirade for sure.
Just going off. I mean, he was obviously, like we said, he wasn't having a good day, and then that happens. So it makes it a little worse than what it might have been. But so I go to get paint, and I'm telling Corey, I'm gonna get 2 cases. Well, I go in.
Andy walks up and Andy tells him, "Yeah, we can't start you guys off in the bunkers."
Yeah.
And Shane's like, "You do this all the time. You've done this to us in the past, and you just did it twice down there. What do you mean you can't start us off in the bunkers? It's already happened a couple of times a day." And he's like, "No, we've never done that. We can never do that." And Shane's like, "Actually, the event we won here, you guys literally stopped a point and started us in the bunkers." He's like, what are you talking about right now? Yeah. So I think the dude realizes he's talking out of his ass. Then you go to get paint, and he kind of gives you some like hush money.
Yeah, really. I mean, he did. I mean, he said, he goes, and I didn't know. I actually thought he was, because I didn't know like him and Shane had that interaction. I actually thought he was talking either to us as a group or you specifically. Yeah. He hands it to me. He was like, "Tell your player to shut his mouth, all this. And I'm like, okay, cool. He was like, "There's a paint on us for the paint that y'all shot." And the first thing that goes through my mind, because I didn't say anything, I was like, okay, cool, thanks. I wanted to say, so you are admitting you're incorrect, because I mean, I think he is incorrect. And by him giving me that paint, he is incorrect. He knows the call was
exactly
not correct. I mean, and that happens. Everybody makes bad calls. I'm not even bitching about the bad call. It's just, we had seen it happen, and it's happened to us multiple times there. So it was just a call that was wrong, and I get you make the call, you're not going to change it. But anyway, so I come back, give that, and Shane, then that's when I found out that whole interaction happened. I was like, so you're the reason we got this free case of paint. I was like, I mean, thanks for the paint, but yeah. So that was pretty much Shane's thing. I mean, Shane would know the more details of it. I mean, I think they talked pretty hard against each other. I think he threatened to make Shane sit the rest of the day or something like that. Shane had said, I don't know exactly, but yeah. So then we play the Raleigh Razorbacks, if I remember right.
Yes.
And it looks like we did a loss, a win, a loss, and a win for a 2-2 tie.
Yes.
That match again, I think we played fine. Like, nothing crazy sticks out. I know at one point in time, I saw a guy go into the snake, and we had Daniel. He was also in the snake, and you can't see the crawl down that snake. So I kept saying, I was like caution the S2, caution the S1. I was like, he could be, he's gonna go to the Viper. Like, there's no one there to stop it. So I was shooting that Viper gap for a while, and he jumped it while I went there. And he was right there with Daniel. And so I screamed, I hit him when he went across, and I screamed at Daniel, and he ended up shooting the dude while I was shooting him in the back. That was the only thing that stuck out to me. That was kind of like I said, you can't see the player. That layout was good layout in my opinion. It was a little weird, but it was like not a shitty layout by any means.
Yeah, it is okay. I played well.
But yeah, I mean, what do you have anything crazy that stuck at you with that, or you, Courtney? I mean, you get to watch a lot when we play, so
all the points kind of run together.
Yeah, that's how
I mean, y'all played well though. Besides that one match, y'all played very well. I thought.
I mean, we'll circle back to the issues on the field that I had at the end, but there is something that happened in that match that I definitely want to touch on.
Yeah, we'll touch on that too, because I forgot that happened until just now saying it. So that ended our day basically. We needed, I forget what 2 teams it was. Was it Assault and Virus? Razorbacks and Virus. We needed them to tie.
Assault and Virus.
Oh, they had to tie.
It was both the Carolina.
They had to tie for us to move on, which is asking a big deal.
Yeah, and I forget who won. It was Assault, maybe won.
I think Assault 4-0'd Razorbacks.
Assault 4-0'd, yeah.
No, wrong. No.
Oh, Assault
Virus
4-0'd
Assault.
Okay.
Because we were very confused how that happened.
That's another reason why I said Assault did not look well.
Yeah.
They got 4-0'd by a team we 5-0'd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But so and that ended obviously our day, which Underground took first, which that's the team. I don't know why that camera keeps doing that.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
So Underground took first. That's the team that 4-0'd our other team. So granted, the first match they did play the toughest team with a pickup team. So that sucks, but they were doing good the first point. And then Carolina Clutch Purple, which that is Tyler's team, who he played with us in the MVPS.
Yeah, Tyler and Beasley actually.
Oh, okay, and Beasley too. Yeah. And then Clutch Black. So they had 2 Clutch teams, and then Razorbacks. So, yeah, I mean, all in all, good event for us. You know what I mean? In general, other than we didn't really play bad. We had one bad match.
Yes.
It sucks not to move on. It's again how the MVPS was. I'd say that event we played really well all day too, and didn't go out of prelims. So that's 2 back-to-back events where we played very well. And
no, we went on the prelims. We made it to the prelims on
And MVPS.
Oh, did we?
We played that same team back to back.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that they had the bullshit call. They didn't call the fucking points.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot that was after that. Okay, so then we move on to Sunday, right?
Sunday.
Yep.
Take it away.
This is all you. I wasn't there. This is you two for this show.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my notes, but
Yep. So, the first match of the day, we are in the shitty pit, on the muddy field. So we start off, with that. We play the Bulldogs. I don't remember them from last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were there or not, but I don't remember.
You guys 14-0'd them, or we 14-0'd them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was that.
That's the guy with the G on his arm. He played Sunday with Mayhem. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was the Bulldogs that we played, and we just kept beating them and just tallying the points so we can go home early at that same field.
Yeah.
At them.
So we played them, we 3-0'd them. The last point in that match, Hayden goes down. They kill everybody, they run, and they don't touch the box. And they start walking off the field, and the pod runners come on. But no one has touched the base. No one has toweled, and we're all sitting there like, what's going on?
Well, Jamie is like Jamie's in the back.
Yeah, Jamie's the only one still on the field. He's kind of like
standing around, walking around, right? And he's like walking slowly towards the front. Everybody else is walking off the field, and what it was is I heard a buzzer on the far field, and I think they heard that. So the ref thought that was done too. So players are socking their guns up, walking off. Pod runners are on, grabbing pods, and I'm like, oh God, 1 or 2 refs are standing there going, that wasn't our buzzer, and they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie is slowly walking at me, and I'm like cheating my ass off to the net, waving. I'm like, Jamie, what the fuck is going on? And Jamie sees me through the net, and then he looks at the people and he sees me again, and then he like jogs up to the buzzer.
He realizes what's going on or what everyone's done.
and I hit the buzzer, whatever. And then they say like, oh, the ref's like, oh, my fault. Like, we said there was game over. We thought we heard the buzzer, and it was like a 5-0. Like they beat them 5 blocks alive for the 3rd point, so they didn't care.
Wow.
Yeah,
that shit happens at Cup a lot because people aren't used to having multiple fields going off.
Yeah, and they're so close.
Player wise, the refs are, but
yeah. So I'm like, I walked up, I'm like, told Jamie, I could see you through the net, like waving your arms, and I didn't know what was going on. He's like, all I could think was maybe somebody hung it dirty and there was a penalty or something. So I just walked up. I'm like, good. He's like, I was just back there picking up pods. He's like, I looked at you.
That
is
like, funny.
I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? He's like, why is everybody walking off? I didn't hear a buzzer yet. So then you got your second match.
My camera's gonna keep doing this, so just ignore it. I can make it come back on. It can be losing power.
So the second match is Cypress Kings. Those are the guys that come down and practice with us, sometimes.
I think AJ and Dylan Rogue and all those guys played that line.
It was a pretty good match. I think we shot someone off the break at least once or twice. Once for sure. Our lanes were there all day long, shooting bodies off the break. So that helped us out a lot. But we ended up 3-0ing them. And, after that match, Dylan goes up to Wes. He's like, I think I figured something out about y'all, but I can't tell you yet because they were hoping to see us back in the finals.
Yeah.
But, yep, we 3-0'd them. And then we played Tantrum, which I thought was going to be a little more difficult than it actually was.
I think maybe that was the weaker of the 2 lines, I believe.
It may have been. I always thought the black was the stronger line, but I think in both divisions, the red was actually the stronger lines.
Yeah.
But, so we go in, we 1-0 them, and then the second point is a longer point, and I am in the Dorito 3, and it's probably like a 3 or 4 minute point. Probably a 3 minute point.
Pretty slow, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, all of a sudden, all the refs are like yelling at us, telling us to stop, put our guns down, stock them up. And I'm like, what is going on? It ended up a player on the other side of the field had tripped over a stake, and he caught himself with his arm.
He's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, he's over 6 foot, and he's probably 250 pounds.
Probably.
Yeah. And his shoulder popped out of place.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So apparently they toweled, and I didn't hear the towel, but so we got that point too. They ended up calling the ambulance and picking him up and taking him to the hospital, actually.
Oh shit, that's a rough
one. So yeah, they said it was like sticking pretty far out, like his bone, yeah. But anyways, so that's that match.
And of course, Arthur gives the old Shane fucking no mercy on crippled people. This guy is Arthur. I'm trying to substitute some of the newer guys in on some points. So I'm putting McMurray in. I'm putting Arthur in. Baxter's getting the main rotation, but I'm rotating some of the guys in. And this is like Arthur's third point of the day, maybe second point. And this dude is laying in between the 200 and 100 and 200, laying on the ground. And Arthur is shooting the fuck out of this dude.
Hell yeah.
Get him out. Get him out of there. Get him out. Then the dude cannot move. It's just like laying on the ground dead. And he's like shooting the fuck out of him. I'm like, chill, dude. I'm like, granted, this is his first tournament ever back in 13 years. 5 practices under his belt in 13 years. So he's just winging it. Anything he sees, shoots. I'm like,
hell yeah.
Jesus, dude. And it reminds me of the story of Shane shooting the crippled guy in the wheelchair. He's just beaming the piss out of this dude, And finally, their coach, towels or whatever. But I'm like, good God, man. I'm like, did you not see what was going on? He's like, well, I seen the refs get on top of him. And I kind of figured something might have been wrong then, so I stopped. I didn't know what was. He's like, all I could see is his legs. He's like, so I just thought he was like crawling up and was like stuck or something. So I was just shooting. I'm like, what? What is going on?
Hilarious. Poor guy.
So then we go on to play the Gridlock Misfits, and that was back on the turf field. The turf field was nice, actually.
Yeah. I have no complaints.
It was slick. It was slick, but it was not as hard as Myrtle Beach. But it turned out nice. But we ended up 3-0ing them. It was a good match. We did it all day long though, 3-0ing everybody, and I'm feeling good.
Yeah, that's a hell of a way to come out of prelims.
Yep. Yeah, we're waiting. We have probably an hour break, and we're waiting to see who we play next. And we draw Nemesis because we get a bye. We get a bye in the first round. So we play Nemesis, and we just cannot get it together. We had a very bad match, just like y'all's against Assault. We were running into lanes. They were a team that liked to sit back in their bunkers. They didn't move a lot.
Yeah.
They were holding lanes, and we were running into guns.
Yeah.
And we just, I guess we weren't used to playing that because we hadn't played like that all day.
Yeah, y'all.
Or we hadn't played people like that.
Well, we had a chance of coming back, and we put a game plan together to come back, and they didn't execute the game plan to perfection. We pushed this thing really hard, got down there, got up on bodies, and there was like 2.5 minutes, and it was like a 4-on-2 situation, and there was a guy in the 100 and a guy in the home, I believe, of God, and they shoot the guy out of the God, and it's like a 3-on-1 in this situation where they're burning the clock, and McMurray is in the Viper, and he's just sitting in the Viper, and she's in the 300, I think, and Baxter's in the X, just sitting there. Well, they like instead of just putting her and Murray just wrap and beam this dude and just send Baxter up the middle for a missile, they're gunfighting on one at a time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And she gets shot, and then Baxter is right all the way around. He gets shot, and the guy literally doesn't even know Murray is sitting in the Viper. Walks down the field and looks, and just walks up to the buzzer, and burns out 2 minutes and then like hangs the flag. Basically, Murray had no clue, and back inside, the guy walks right by him, and like I came off. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this is not you guys. You guys did not look like this. I'm like, this is just not how you played all day. And like, we kind of got in their ass, and we went over the game plan and was like, just do your job. That's all you got to do. You know what I mean? And then then you guys go in for playing for third and fourth versus Clutch, and you're playing against Beasley and them.
Mm-hmm.
Beasley and the guy who played, I think Doug Hinson, who played the first day in the D4 with
Our other guys.
Defects,
yeah.
And they rolled them up good. And it looked like it was gonna be a close match because Beasley's a really good player, and I thought they were gonna key up a little bit harder. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I had Jamie. Like I felt like if I would have let Jamie off the leash and let him go get him and attack, what's the other team? Y'all Nemesis. It probably would have been fine. But I talked to Jamie throughout the day, and we wanted to let the kids do work. Yeah. And I asked him, I'm like, how many kills are you getting? Like, are you like playing hard? And he's like, I'm just really just pressuring. He's like, the guys are kind of working. He's like, they're going down, they're getting all the kills. He's like, and I'm just pressuring them. I'm shooting off break, and I'm not really, I'm not trying to carry the team. I'm just, helping the guys out, which I think is going to be really good in the long run.
Oh, for sure.
If you just go out there and then you just run down and shoot 5 of them and go, all right, guys, come hang the flag. Your guys don't learn dick. But if your guys are battling in the trenches and having to work for every kill they get, I think it's a lot better. And I asked him, he's like, man, I'm just kind of bouncing around the field from bunker to bunker, just pressuring dudes, pushing them and drawing guns and letting the guys move down. So I started putting him over there on the snake side with Hayden, and Jamie was like just jumping up in the air over top of bunkers and just drawing all the guns on him, and Hayden would like fly down to like their snake 1, 2 and just shoot them all in the back. I'm like, yeah, and he's like, and Jamie kept walking off and hits all over him. He's like, walk off. He's like, I'm just getting to the snake 1 or 2 behind Hayden when he's in the Viper and just standing up and getting all the guns to shoot at me, and then Hayden just sneaks down and shoots him in the back. He's like,
hey, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, and then her and Ryan are running down the 300 because once Hayden's over there, they're freaking out. Her and Ryan are running down and just shooting them all on the other side. So I'm like, and they played clutch and they beat him pretty convincingly. And I was fucking with Beasley because he came off like the second loss. It was like they're 2-0, and he just looked defeated. And I'm like, to the net, I'm like, you look tired, Beasley. You look tired. And he was like, no. Like, and then I talked to him after the match was done over, and he was like, I was done, dude. He's like, I didn't have anything. He's like, we were just beat.
Well, they had played the Warriors while we were playing Nemesis, and that was a very close match. They ended up going in overtime and having to play a 5-minute point, and they almost went the whole 5 minutes, and they ended up losing.
Yeah, and the worst thing was before that they played the Kings and they beat the Kings pretty bad. Well, there was like 5 minutes left, and all they have to do is hang the flag. Well, Beasley and somebody else sit at the dead box for 5 minutes on the field and burnt the entire clock out of the game, and it was fucking hot.
Yeah,
so they were just cooking. And in my head, I'm going, man, this might not seem like it affects you, but it's gonna play a role. Going to play on a role in about 2 matches when you were sitting out there with full gear inside, and because the sun turned on.
Yeah,
it was hot. It was not hot all day. The last 2 matches in the finals, the sun fucking was like, okay, here's 90 degrees, boom, click, and it just, you could feel the heat coming off the turf.
And it's all clay up there too. So.
Yes, and you could feel the heat coming off the turf hot. I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Yikes.
Yeah, so you could tell they were just worn. They were just worn down. You know what I mean?
Yikes. Well, so that puts y'all at 15-3 on the day, if my math is right.
Yeah.
Yep. 15-3.
Every match they won. They never
3 points.
They 3-0'd everybody, and then they lost. They got 0-3.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'll be honest. I told him before the event, I'm like, I don't go up here and expect to win this thing. Like, no offense to any of my guys, but we haven't really practiced together because we picked up Baxter and Arthur and McMurray,
and you've never played with mainly either of them. None of them.
Me, Ryan, and Hayden are the only ones that consistently play together.
Yeah.
So we did pick them up. I'm like, I expect us to do well. I don't expect us to win, but who knows? And we go out there and 3 everybody. I'm like, Okay, let's get
Yeah.
it. Like,
no, I mean, y'all earned it. Like,
yeah,
it was funny because I was at home. I was like, kept like refreshing the APPA.
yeah,
I see a 3-0, and I texted Wes and I was like, you tell them to fucking keep that gas pedal on. Like,
yep.
don't let up. And I see another 3-0. I'm like, okay. Another 3. I'm like, okay. And then like I'm like refreshing like for the next hour, and obviously nothing's going on. And then I like keep doing it. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I see the 0-3, and I'm like, damn. I was like, okay. I was like, but like, because we went through the bracket, like y'all got the bye or whatever. And I was like, damn. But then I refreshed it again, and it was showing 2 0-3s. So I actually texted Wes. They had at first they had it as y'all got 0-3 against Clutch. And I was like, damn. I was like, they went like 12-0 and then lost their next 6. I was like, how the fuck do they not win one? That was what I was going through. I'm like, they didn't win 1 out of the 6. And then like I refreshed it again, and it was normal. And then that's when Wes texted me. He was like, 3rd place. I had thought y'all got knocked out. So I went from like, fuck, that sucks. Like I was pissed. And then I was like, oh, hell yeah, they took 3rd. That's great.
That. Yeah. I never knew that.
Yeah. But yeah. So that ended up putting Nemesis in 1st, Warriors 2nd, Project X 3rd, and then Clutch in 4th. So congratulations to the rest of those guys. Especially Nemesis. I mean, that seems like they were they 3-0'd y'all, and y'all were playing pretty hot. So
well, it's crazy to see, like, if you look at all the pictures, because the pitches of the teams they were playing against, like Clutch and Nemesis, they're all like, grown men. They're all like 25 to like 35 years old, like been playing for a little bit, you know what I mean? And they're like, we got some young kids on the team, like, like little fucking munchkins just running around shooting people. It's like,
it is. I thought that too. It's like I look at when we do like our Georgia Extreme plays, and we have some of like our rosters, our average age has got to be like 33 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because we have like Chuck and Perkins, and if we have any of the other older guys like on that roster, it's like West. Like we're up there. I mean, I'll be 28. Chris Cox, I'll be 28 in 2 weeks. I'm like, me and Shane are the youngest too.
Yeah.
Other than like we have Courtney, but everybody else, it's like my age. Like Shane's the youngest, and he's only 3 years younger than me. So I'm like, oh, we're in like the 30s easily, like the average age of this roster. And we'll play like teams in Florida. I'm like, their average age is probably 18 or 19.
Oh,
like,
yeah. For sure.
Rough. And then it's like the same for them. I mean, that team's average age is probably 17 or 18.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a few people that skew that, but still it's crazy. But so what do you think about the event as a whole, I guess I should say?
All right, so I'm giving the reffing, if I'm not counting the bottom field reffing, which was shaky for the first part of the day, and then got better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the reffing an 8 out of 10.
I would agree with that.
Out of the reffing, especially when we got to the top field and watching the finals, and on both days, I felt the reffing was really good. Didn't see too many bad calls, especially on the second day. They were actually pretty keened up and doing well. It was rolling pretty quick. I don't think this is on the tournament director. I believe this is on the field. That had to be the most unsafe piece of shit field I've ever been to. Yeah. Like every entrance of the field was wide open. And when I say wide open, I mean there was like a 5-foot gap in the net. Like, and there's no net door over it where you like walk through, and people were getting shot. And it's different if the net entrance is like on the side of the field and it's on the like sideways behind the bunkers. No, the entrance is directly behind the snake corner. So paint is fucking coming through the hole and the walkway like all the time. People are you can't stand anywhere near it. And it's right there at the pits, right there near the scores table and the air station. Yep. Like I'm getting air and paint is coming through the fucking hole in the net. I'm like, people are getting shot left and right. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Even up in top of the field in the little metal pits, that is at least sideways, but technically that's an open hole right inside the fucking pit where you're standing there with no masks on, and paint can come right in that bitch. It's just a very poor layout And from my understanding, they set that field up at the last minute. But how hard is it to take a piece of net and put 10 zip ties on it and let it drape over the hole?
That's all you had to do is drape it over that door. And it would be like any other field.
That Sunday. It was like that. It was zip tied Sunday.
Yeah, because I literally said it out loud in front of like people who were running the event. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this. I literally said, I think I said in front of Scuba. I'm like, this is asking to be sued. I'm like, this is literally asking to lose everything you have right here. And they have women, tons of women and children walking around like supporting teams, getting shot left and right. I'm like, how hard is it going to be till you get shot in the eye? Like, it is not going to be hard. So they had that. And then we'll get to the point where this is really on nobody except whoever set the field up. They used mushroom head stakes that they like stake Jesus down with.
Jesus.
Yeah, for real. And they used
for real. Okay, keep going.
They use a 4-inch solid
Happy
steel.
Easter, everybody.
I can't even say anything. I'm out on that one.
They used Jesus stakes and they put 4-inch circle solid stainless steel washers to hold the bungees down. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So I dove into the 200 on the break and I'm diving at the baby. I feel something hit my arm pretty hard, and I'm just thinking like nothing big, right? Like it is what it is. I probably hit something on the rock under the turf or something.
Yeah.
I get in the bunker and look. My entire jersey from wrist down to my elbow is sliced wide open, and I'm wearing my Gucci carbon tops under that, and my pad it happens to be perfectly placed there. Thank fucking God.
Yeah.
That sliced all the way down, and I'm in my bunker on the break, and I am mad. I am fucking mad that I just probably destroyed $200 in gear. I'm literally looking at the ref, and he's looking at me, and I'm pointing, and I'm looking at the ref, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think we won that point or whatever, and I walked off, and I'm like, I come back, and I'm like, right here, dude, you have to fix this. I'm like, this is a liability. I'm like, this is it. I can run over and beat it into the dirt further down or whatever. But I'm like, this is wild, dude. So I walk by the team we're playing, and I'm like, I show my jersey, and it's hanging there. Like, I just got my fucking arm cut off. And I'm like, hey, dude, watch out right here. Something in this area was going to cut your arm off. And the kid's like, what? I'm like, yeah, something around this area.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. And he walked. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, like right here. And he looked, and he's like, all right, appreciate it, man. I was hoping he'd dive in like head first and hit his head on it or something. But
Jesus.
But I did tell him, and the ref beat it in the dirt. But the air stations, fuck me, man. It didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. But we played the entire day.
This part bothers me.
With 3,000 PSI.
Yes.
I played, except the very first match, we had air, like 41 or something. After that, we literally played with in between 2,800 PSI and 3,200 PSI. We played the entire day on that.
Yep.
And me with a 45, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I set this gun up so it could have at least 4,000 PSI fills. Like, I have to have that fill. And we never, ever had over a 3,500 PSI fill since the first match. Every
time I went out there, I had 7 pods, and I was like, I might not be able to shoot all 7 of these. Like, if I need this 6th pod, I might could have shot. I don't know what that force. I might could have shot 5 and a hopper with the force. That would have been asking for every ounce of air out of that tank.
Yeah, but it's like I didn't understand that. It's like it's wild. And the air situation, they morons kept blowing the O-rings off.
Yeah, that's not on the field. That's just dum-dums that I don't understand how you don't have to field with
leave like one air station, like one line.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, fix them. Because not only are they not in the pits, I have to walk a goddamn country mile to go get my air, and within a 1 minute turnaround, and there's only one airline. What?
Yeah. And it was walking through that again. This isn't on a tournament.
Through the fucking quicksand from the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, but my thing was, that mud problem bothered me more than it probably should, because I feel like I'm pampered now.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was, to me, an easy fix. There's a backhoe right behind us with a big mound of dirt.
Pallets everywhere. There's wood everywhere.
Yes.
Put some plywood down top pallets. Put the pallets down and move on.
Yeah. It was a lot of little things.
All of this.
Oh, Jamie was mad.
Oh yeah, Jamie was big mad Saturday morning.
Me and Michael were gonna kick out of it, but he comes down and he was complaining about the pits, which I completely understand. 1 tent and 1 table for 2 teams, from 7 to 10 people per team. That's a lot, and then you go on the far side of that, the second field, and it is mud. There's trash everywhere. You step onto the field and you're in ankle deep water. They did have a pallet down, but it was 1 pallet and it really wasn't doing anything. The refs had no flags on the second field. And there was a few on the top field that didn't have flags either. That is, I feel like that was just.
That's a terrible oversight.
Yes. And you're talking about they could have tore up some towels or something.
Yeah, my thing is you couldn't have ran to Walmart. And even if you couldn't find a red flag and a yellow flag, you buy a white and a black. I mean, just 2 different colors.
You buy 2 yellow t-shirts and 2 red t-shirts.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You literally cut them in pieces and put a golf ball in them and wrap a fucking string around it and throw it in the air. That's all you have to do.
Yep. Because that's an important thing for the players. I mean,
yeah, you see a penalty go up.
You go, oh shit. Now granted, there weren't. Maybe this is why they weren't calling penalties, and that's why I got and other players got some like freebies, like keep playing, and when I see a hit, I'll call you out. Maybe that's why they weren't throwing penalties down there, because I didn't see a lot of penalties on either fields. I don't think we had any that I can think of, and maybe that's the reasoning behind that. But that shouldn't be. I mean, penalties should be thrown and called on all players, all teams. But I don't know. I missed this. I forget what point it was we played. I meant to say this when we were talking about it. Shane, actually, speaking of penalties, Shane shot me in the leg off break. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to not flinch and play like a champ. I think it was the team we 4-0'd. And again, in this game, I think we had all 5 bodies left. I'm like walking down the field and they're looking at me to like come hit the flag. And I'm like shaking it off. I looked at my leg and I got a fucking massive hit right on my left leg. And I'm like, no, y'all need to go. Just someone hit the fucking buzzer, because I literally have been hit since before this game started, good sirs. But yeah, anything else that you had about the?
No, paint shot fine.
I mean, the buzzers going off was a little.
Oh yeah.
Annoying.
Well, that goes back to the whole like.
Unprepared.
Yeah.
And granted, it did rain, and I know rain does affect all those systems, but
never had a scoreboard.
Never had a scoreboard. Yeah. Never had a scoreboard on the field or in the pit. You know what I mean? Nowhere. So you had to go ask. And I would actually rather have a scoreboard on the field than in the pits.
Yeah, so I could. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
But, like if it's one or the other, I mean, so
I'm taking one on the field.
I am too. Just I think it's more important for the players, because they can tell the coach what the time is when they're coming out, or the coach can run and ask real quick, like we were doing.
Yeah, we were running to the score table to get your time to yell it to you while you're on the field.
Wild.
Yeah.
But all in all, not a terrible event. I heard it ran late again.
Yeah. And granted, I can't blame the running late this year. There
was a storm. There was a storm that delayed them. I did see that.
Yeah. I can't really blame that one on.
Well, if you ran the air stations correctly and you had the pit set up correctly, this wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
they'd have the fucking guys done by 3 or 4 o'clock.
Like you said, all in all, it was good. Again, and we said this, and they took suggestions on their Facebook page. I didn't comment because I didn't think either of their suggestions are the right way to do it. Yeah. And he literally, like, if he wouldn't have said in there like, please refrain from anything else, I was like, I'm not going to be that guy, even though I knew what I wanted to say. But
what were you going to say?
Get rid of the mercy rule.
What was the question first? Announce the question, and then announce
how do we make Saturdays not go as long?
And then what were the A and B's?
Let me look real quick.
Amount of teams, so it could run faster and like cap it off
at 20, I believe.
20, and B was drop the minutes down in the mercy rule, or vice versa. Just keep the mercy rule there and drop the minutes down, or something like that. So
it says option A: reduce the amount of Division 4 teams to a maximum of 20. Keep 10 minutes, 10-minute points with Mercy 4. The option B was we keep the teams at 25, but we cut the time down to 8 minutes with possible Mercy 3. But for now, we'll leave it at Mercy 4. I don't think either one of those, in my opinion, are the correct solution. I think you could limit it at 25. I think that's where it needs to be, as long as you have 2 fields. If you're at 1 field, I think 15.
Yeah.
But I think you get rid of the mercy 4 and leave it 10 minutes and do race to 4. I think that will save you right there, because each is going to be 10 minutes.
Well, that's not going to change anything, because think about it. All the points barely went time.
I mean, I guess, but I just don't.
Apparently, they ran out of time. You know what I mean? 3-0 and they ran out of time. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So I don't think the race is going to help that out any. I think, honestly, just a well-prepared air setup. But they took breaks. They took like a 2-hour break on the top field.
Because that field was running so much faster than the bottom field.
And it's all air. If they had the air station rolling, we could have saved 2 hours right there.
And there was a lot of delays with the buzzer and like if you hit the bunker, if you shot the bunker that the buzzer was sitting on, it would stop the game, because that buzzer was sitting in a Velcro thing.
Yeah.
So it was putting pressure on it.
Like I said, I think it's a bunch of small things.
Yes.
That equated to a bigger. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any huge problems, but yeah. And then this is something that I never thought I'd say, because I was totally against them. Players definitely need to wear their damn chin straps. What about that guy's mask we saw fucking fly off at one point? I mean, that was the way that flew off was very flukish. I mean, he like went over the top of like a Aztec while the dude was there, and I think the dude's barrel just kind of like caught the bottom of his mask.
Yeah.
But a chin strap would have kept that on unless it was super loose or something. But I mean, that dude's mask went completely fine. Now, granted, the refs then did exactly what they're supposed to and just dove on him.
Yeah. Should shot me eyes. Get him out.
I thought he was shot me eyes, because that player, out of instinct, I mean, he followed him. Like, you can't stop. It's not his fault. Like, dude came over the bunker. I'm shooting at you. Oh, shit, your mask came off. And then I'm going to keep playing. Like, it is what it is. But did you have anything else?
That's it, man.
Courtney?
I got a Ryan Greenspan Hormesis headband.
Do you have
it? By the way, are fucking retarded.
What's retarded?
The headbands sell out.
Oh yeah.
Oh well.
And literally,
I can agree with that.
They'll release like, let's say 100, and they'll release them like multiple different colors and stuff. I'm not sure if you've been on their website. You've been on the website.
I have. Yep.
Okay, we've been for 2 releases, and they sell out in under 5 to 10 seconds.
Jesus Christ!
All of them. We had 3 people waiting to buy them, and I probably could have bought a couple last night because I was faster than everybody doing.
Of course,
you can do the one-click PayPal, like click done.
Yeah. They say Apple Pay is the way to go. That's the fastest route to take. So
PayPal too. If you have the one-click set up on there. I didn't think about it. I was in mid Tarkov last night, so she was on her own doing that. So she lost out on that one, but.
When will it be in?
I got hookup. I got the hookup though.
Yeah,
so I can't tell you.
Okay. Yeah, so they all sold out, and Oliver obviously is on the page I'm on, and he was talking about he's gonna release some Iron Kids ones, a couple extra ones here and there. And
I saw the pictures of the Iron Kids ones.
Yeah, he says he's releasing a couple more of those, and they're trying to do what Twister's doing, get them out to people who don't have them, because they're selling out instantly. Yeah. But his headbands are already selling for like $500 to $800.
That's ridiculous.
Instantly, they're selling like literally like hotcakes.
I'm not reselling mine. So
I would.
So the Ryan Greenspan apparently has his jerseys, like a piece of the jersey stitched inside of the headband, like where the foam is or your
that's cool.
Off is. It'll have like the dragon jersey like stitched in, like a little piece of it inside the dragon.
Oh, that's
jersey.
kind of badass.
Yeah. So I'm like, why don't you just message him privately? I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we talk all the time. So
I'm like, I'm sure he'll have
your second husband
around. Yeah, I'm like, he's got him just lying around, I'm sure. So
that's dope.
But yeah.
You want to take us out of here, Courtney?
Take us out of here.
You mean you brought us in, like, and that was your
I don't listen to the
you don't listen to me.
I mean, I do, but I don't
see.
But you say a lot more than he does. You have a bigger role.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for
buy the merch. Buy the merch.
Thanks for doing what you guys do. I don't know who's buying the fucking merch.
Yeah.
In the morning.
But we appreciate it.
I like it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, hey,
Keep liking, sharing, following. Anything you guys need. If you have any more questions,
Send me a Hormesis headband.
Yeah. All the above. And that will be the closing. And I'm going to add one more thing to it. This month was our second biggest month. So it is definitely growing.
Let's get it. Yeah. Keep growing. Let's go.
Yeah. I like it. That was a good little outro.
Yeah, I liked it.
I did too. All right. Well, peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.